For a little bit of context about the work that I'm going to present, it has been, I'm in Querétaro, Mexico. So in Querétaro, Mexico is a very huge aerospace cluster that is over there. So we make a strategic alliance with CIDESI, and we have been working in different ways to develop sustainable materials and to rescue materials for additive manufacturing. So for this project, what we do is we rescue composites, carbon fiber composites, laminate carbon fiber composites, and then we apply a mechanical method for milling and recycle the fibers to then mix these recycled carbon fiber materials with a new thermoplastic material that is ABS, and after that we use injection molding or extrusion to create filament for additive manufacturing. In this way, we choose the ABS because it's an engineering thermoplastic that has very high mechanical properties that will give us the strength and the crystallization that we need for the molecules to interact with carbon fiber. At this point, this work is on process, so I'm going to show you the result that we have for the moment. But this is one of the most used thermoplastic materials in the whole industry because the low density of the material, the high molecular weight, and other, as I mentioned, the very high mechanical properties. So if we see why the composite materials are important, is because the market, the global demand of these materials is very high, not only for our aerospace industry, also automotive and other industries as eolic energy and a lot of materials. So what happens when you have a piece of carbon fiber composites and it's not work anymore? You put it out to the waste. So that's why it's very important to see how we're going to impact these materials and how we can make a cycle loop with these carbon fibers. So as I tell you, where the recycling for carbon fiber in this moment that we have in the state of the art, we have milling as a mechanical process, we have pyrolysis, also another chemical as degradation, electrochemical, depolymerization, and all of that. So the approach that we are trying to give to this material is, as I tell you, a cycle loop, and to rescue the materials and mix it with another polymer instead of the epoxy for another application. So the extrusion of the ABS and the carbon fiber, at the end, we're going to produce filament for additive manufacturing process at FDM. So the main objective of our research in this moment with the CIDESI is to develop a new composite material based on ABS and recycled carbon fibers. So we are going to characterize all the mechanical properties of the material, also the thermal characterization of the material. Why we need the thermal characterization? Because the thermal characterization is going to give us the processability of the material as the rheology. We need the crystallization, we need TG, we need how the temperature is going to be controlled to see which is going to be the most accurate application of our material. It's a new material. So we need also to analyze the structure, because it's very important to mention that carbon fibers are inorganic materials, and the ABS is an organic material. So it's an hybrid material that is interacting, and the bonding is not natural. So we need to see how these recycled carbon fibers are going to be at the surface and working with our thermoplastic to see if we're not going to have failure in the surface of the material. So also, we're going to analyze different velocities of extrusion, different speeds, and speeds of milling to see how it's going to affect our final properties of our material. So here you can see our recycled fibers. We have carbon fiber fabric that is mixed with EPLAM epoxy resin, and by vacuum infusion. So we rescue these materials, and then we're going to mix it with ABS, as I told you. So this is the main process. What we do, we have the laminate of the carbon fiber composites. We construct a machine for the milling, and this process I cannot not show you the machine over here because it's in a process of TRL, and we are in the patent process right now for this step that is in the middle over here, so that's why it's a blank, okay? But at the end, we get this recycled carbon fiber powder that we rescue from the laminates that are from waste, and then we mix it in dry with the ABS. After that, we pass it for extrusion process, and we get pellets. What is the very important part of getting pellets? We can process a traditional way with that. We can get injection molding, we can get thermoforming, we can get rotation, we can get extrusion, we can make a lot of things with the traditional manufacturing process for polymers. But at the end, we get injection because we want to test our mechanical properties of the material. So I think over here, okay, yeah. So as I told you, we're doing mechanical, thermal. In thermal, we're including the rheology of the material. The rheology is gonna give us all the process parameters, okay, and the better application for the material, and also the microscopy. So I'm gonna show you the results that we have at the moment. As I told you, this is a project that is on process, actually. So here you can see how the velocity of the extrusion is affecting our carbon fibers. Let me see if I can. No. Okay. You can see that the epoxy resin, we have different residues in the surface of the carbon fiber. So we need to see how we're going to remove these residues to the interaction with the material. So at this point, the velocity is affecting how the carbon fibers and the epoxy are interacted with the ABS. But for the mechanical properties, you can see that the modulus is not affected by the speed. So we are going further to see how we can change the mechanical properties of the material. Also, we need to compare with pure ABS. And here you can see the strain straight curves. We leave the weight and the percentage of the material like constant for this point. But now we're going to start changing this percentage and also the velocities. As I told you, we have a lot of things to do, and I hope that I'm going to present these results for the moment. But what we do in Querétaro, in my group, we're a subgroup of the Metamaterials Lab, and we work with polymers in different kinds of materials. We develop sustainable materials, we develop composites with natural or agroindustrial residues, and also we work a lot with another public research centers and other universities of the area. So thank you very much for your time. I don't know if anyone has a question.
Thank you very much, Cecilia, for your presentation. Do we have any questions? Ahmed, please.
Thank you very much for an interesting presentation, Cecilia. So I'm curious to know, did you look at the effect of the length of the fibers on the properties? Because in the graphs that you're showing, they're pretty consistent and expected, given that you're using ABS as a matrix. But did you do some work on changing the length of those?
We're doing that right now. As I told you, we try to control the size of the particles after the milling that we have our process, that we are in the process of the patent. And as we can control, at this point, we try to leave the fibers as much the length as much constant as we possibly have. But we are going to change the length and also see how it affects the mechanical properties at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So here, who? No?
No. Okay.
Okay. Isaac, over there, back. And then Alex.
Thank you. So what about the electrical properties of these mixed materials? Have you tested? Are you planning
At the moment, we don't test the electrical properties, but right now, we don't think it's going to have a lot of electrical properties because we cannot get about the epoxy resin of the surface.
Oh,
so we already have the epoxy resin and we have the carbon fibers. So we need to go further to find a way to remove it completely, to start testing the electrical application of the material.
This is a way to create, let me say, electrical polymer.
Exactly.
Electrical conductive polymer. Yeah.
That's the main research. We want to get filaments or very thin wires of this material.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a question from Luis Elizalde from SICA. I have a question. Recycling CNF receive any additional treatment?
For this moment, no.
Alex?
Regarding the polarization that you are talking about, because it is important. If you can get control of the epoxy resin, the material would be sustainable. It's something that we are looking. So could you please mention what is the stage present in your project? The polarization, and how you are planning to collect the epoxy resin and so
Yes. We are trying to rescue the epoxy resin and to separate from the carbon fibers, and after that, give it another use for the carbon fiber and also for the epoxy resin. So we want to create the whole cycle for the material.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Another question is, why to use ABS and not other material?
Because of the high mechanical properties of this material, and that is one of the most used of thermoplastic in the industry of automotive and aerospace.
Okay. Could you confirm an homogeneous dispersion of the carbon fiber in the matrix?
Yes, in this moment we have an homogeneous dispersion of the matrix because of the extrusion. The extrusion will give you a homogeneous dispersion of the material, and the particle size that we have, it works very well with that process to create the pellets.